G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. Of course, as we're starting to get closer and closer to the Ahsoka series dropping on Disney+, the advertising has definitely ramped up. We've got all these TV spots that have come out. And of course, just today, we had another little snippet of information that we're going to actually go through. It's a good 7-minute video with, I believe, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and a few others talking about the Ahsoka series. But before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about what I've been talking about in some of these videos. And that's the fact that from what we've been seeing and hearing in a lot of these trailers, it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot of retconning going on within this series. One of the biggest parts of that being Sabine being Force sensitive. Now, of course, we don't actually know that. We don't know anything too much about it until we actually see it on the screen and find out what they're actually doing with these characters. So, of course, we had this article come out from Bounding Into Comics, and there's a lot of speculation out there in regards to what are they actually doing with this series. Ahsoka teaser trailer appears to show that Dave Filoni is retconning Star Wars Rebels. Now, to me, it's not just the fact that it's Sabine that they're going to make Force sensitive, it's how Ahsoka has interacted with Sabine throughout the Rebels series and what she actually says about that. And I've talked a little bit about that in some of my previous videos. However, there's a new article that's just come out from Bounding Into Comics saying Dave Filoni confirms Sabine Wren will be Ahsoka Tano's apprentice in Star Wars Ahsoka. Now that of course comes from this clip that we're going to watch, and let me go through it, we'll listen to it, I'll give my thoughts, and obviously I'll have a little bit more backstory and information in regards to what is actually being talked about here. So let's take a listen to this.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
Yes, when we're talking about
Star Wars always has these great master-apprentice relationships.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him.
You see that handing down of mastery, the teaching, the developing, the growing.
Do or do not. There is no try.
It's very much the idea of apprenticeship. The need for those two groups to come together in order to pass down the knowledge and to help save the world, in the case of Star Wars.
When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
Those life lessons are what make these characters some of the most iconic characters worldwide.
The war is just beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi.
All of that wisdom gets passed down, over those generations. We have Qui-Gon Jinn, who's the master of Obi-Wan, who's the master of Anakin Skywalker. And by being trained by Anakin, Ahsoka was part of that legacy as well.
Poetry. Now, before we get actually more into this, I just want to say, obviously, Jon Favreau is an executive producer on this Ahsoka series. I don't know the word that I'm looking for. I think the word would be weird.
Weird.
It's quite weird that we got told that Jon Favreau is leaving Star Wars not too long ago, once we got to the end of Mando Season 3. And, of course, here he is being an executive producer on the Ahsoka series. Whatever happened to that rumor? Gee, I wonder who was wrong in that sense. I also love how they use the nostalgia of like the things that we love and some of the statements that were made from the original trilogy and of course the prequel trilogy. They do flash up little moments from the sequel trilogy, and of course to those people out there that are going, oh, I hope it doesn't lead right into the sequel trilogy, how much more evidence do you need than watching these things, seeing them flutter in all the sequel trilogy garbage and statements from the sequel trilogy that you hear Luke Skywalker say just in this first minute and a half? How much more evidence do you need that they're not retconning anything? The world between worlds doesn't work that way, and they're not going to use that to retcon a damn thing. Anyway, let's continue.
Ahsoka is a character that Dave Filoni created and worked with George Lucas on in the Clone Wars.
Originally, we didn't really know, exactly what the Clone Wars was going to be, and we made up our own little band of characters. There was a character that was a Jedi, and there was a Padawan, and thought, we'll put them on adventures. But, George had other ideas. He says, well, in this character, and he points to the Padawan we had, and he says, let's give Anakin Skywalker a Padawan. And I was like, Anakin doesn't have Padawan. And he just looked at me and said, Anakin has a Padawan.
Oh, I don't.
And that was basically.
See, this is the thing with Dave Filoni. I truly believe that Dave Filoni is a hack, and I don't know how much of this I can actually believe. George isn't there to say, hang on a second, no, that's not true. Now, I'm not saying that it's not true, just for you spurgs out there that love to get in my comments section, but I don't know how much of what Dave Filoni says here that I can actually believe, because George Lucas wanted Ahsoka to be killed, and he's gone against his wishes when it comes to that fact. So, don't know how much of what Dave Filoni is saying here you can actually trust, but let's continue.
Basically it. That's how Ahsoka came about. We cast Ashley Eckstein to be the voice of the character, and she's fantastic in the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Ahsoka is one of the most well-developed characters in Star Wars, period.
She's the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. She's the only one
She's the most well-developed and overused.
that he is trained to be a Jedi.
This young teenage girl who was trained to be a keeper of the peace had to become a warrior worthy of standing next to the greatest Jedi of all time.
Dave's journey. Who gives a fuck?
Ahsoka's story and her growth has mirrored my own. As you see, my style of storytelling matured and the stories got more complex. It had grown to the point where I wanted to take what I was doing in animation and really see if I could get it to this type of storytelling that I'd grown up with in Star Wars. Mandalorian Season 1 was a perfect place for me to experiment with my own creativity and style, but have a great backstop and support from collaborating with all these other extraordinary people.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
This is the way.
This is so gay.
When Season 2 came around, I was like, for my episode, I was like, well, I'm gonna do Ahsoka. I'm like, I just need to try this. Let's do it.
Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan sent me.
Yeah, which was ridiculous because she just attacks a Mandalorian while Grogu's sitting right there next to him. I've made videos on that. It's fucking ridiculous. You can check that out on my channel where Ahsoka meets Din Djarin for the first time, and it's just a little bit of a parody on this actual scene.
It's about him.
For a character that has such depth and complexity, to bring that character to live action made a tremendous amount of sense.
Tell me what I want to know. Where is your master?
George visited the set when we were filming the lightsaber fight in the Japanese garden, Season 2. And I think it was really encouraging of Dave stepping up to this role. And so George would turn to Kathy and myself and be proud of Dave. He was Dave's teacher, and Dave was his apprentice.
Oh, fuck off.
There are moments when I just stare at her and I'm just like, wow, she just looks like this thing I've drawn, but Sarah's done all the research. Like, she knows the character, but now she has to become it in a way that's never happened before.
Yeah, it actually, the thing that feels most awkward right now is talking with you, the posing and sort of the stances we're doing, that's not unusual, but speaking as Rosario while in Ahsoka is a little startling. I really love the transformation and really deep diving into who she is.
Rosario Dawson is just such an incredibly powerful actress, and she loves this character.
Hang on a second. I thought Kathleen Kennedy was gone and she's got no power and nothing to do with anything that John and Dave are doing. Am I wrong? Is this another moment where it's a little weird?
Weird.
It's kind of weird for you fucking idiots out there with your rumor mill. Wow.
I think everything about who Ahsoka is just brought to life in a way that almost nobody else could.
She not only gets a character, but she gets like the Star Wars of it all, which is an important ingredient. You have to be in it. This is a hard thing. You're gonna have to be painted orange every day. You're gonna have to put a prosthetic on your head every day. You're gonna be training like a Jedi to learn how to lightsaber fight almost every day.
I'm playing someone who is an absolute expert. And so I really wanted to be able to physicalize that as much as possible.
Yeah, Jedi's primary weapon is a lightsaber. There need to be a lot of lightsaber fights. And they have to be good, because our fans know the difference.
When I started getting my stances and some of
It's too bad you haven't been able to do it ever fucking since George was actually involved.
postures and, started really getting my left hand up to par with my right, that I started to really feel like I was sinking into who Ahsoka was, because her physicality is such a huge part of who she is. No matter how tired I was like, sign me up for some more. Sign me up for some more.
A new story.
When you step into Star Wars and work with George, you are part of a legacy. You're part of a history, and we had to uphold that history and yet do this completely new and different thing.
Ahsoka is another story where you can step in at any point and not feel that you necessarily have to have seen everything.
Oh my God.
From the beginning of this series, Ahsoka is out there on the fringe of the galaxy. When she hears whispers of this warlord's return, she decides to enlist her friends' help.
This is about preventing another war.
You know who could help?
Sabine Wren.
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
I'm telling the story about this mentor-student relationship that passes from Anakin to Ahsoka to Sabine.
There is nothing easy about being a Jedi.
It's quite extraordinary. Bring this to life.
When the stakes are this high, we have to do what's right.
Okay, so that's the line there that obviously Bounding into Comics is talking about, where Dave says that passing down Master to Apprentice from Anakin to Ahsoka to Sabine. Now, look, again, we've got to wait and see on whether or not there's going to be retcons in there from what we've seen, because that's not how the Force works, funnily enough. Right? If Sabine was Force sensitive, then she would have been Force sensitive in the Rebels series. It doesn't take this long. And of course, Kanan, Ezra would have sensed the Force within her and her ability within her. And especially when Kanan was training her with the Darksaber in the Rebels series, a lot of that would have come out. Now, I do agree we do have to wait and see whether or not that actually happens, but I actually want to show you a couple of comments from my previous reaction video. If you listen to Shin, she said to Sabine, "You have no power," when she held her hand out to force push Shin. And obviously, I want to talk about these two comments separately. This is the moment that we're talking about.
You have no power.
Right? So Sabine's holding her hand out. Now, why would she be holding her hand out like that if she hasn't been told that she's got this power within her to be able to do it? It could just be holding her hand out to say, "Stop, I've had enough, please, no, I surrender," right? But then for Shin to come out and even say you have no power, I kind of feel like by the end of the series, they are going to retcon it and give Sabine Force-sensitive powers. So that is, again, speculation. We've got to wait and see whether or not we're going to see that. But I would like to, if this person ends up seeing this video and obviously hearing what I've said after reading their comment here, I would love to know. So you're saying that this is what happens in the trailer, but then do you agree that it would be absolutely ridiculous and a retcon if they were to give Sabine Force powers? Because I'm like 90% certain that that's where this is going based on what we've seen. So if you say, yes, that would be ridiculous, then don't come out afterwards and say how good the series is. And also too, don't just come out and say, but oh, look, it depends on how they do it. Because again, that's not how the Force works. You also get this comment here. Nothing is being retconned at this point in time, except for the Ahsoka in white robes as of right now. Anyone saying otherwise has no idea what they're talking about until we have the show in front of us. And I completely agree with that. We don't know that things are being retconned until we actually see it in front of us. But again, I'm speculating based on the trailers that I'm actually seeing, based on what Dave Filoni is saying in this. It definitely comes across that Sabine is going to be Force sensitive. Even when Ahsoka says that she's, what is it? Let me go back in this trailer really quickly. It's just here.
Bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him. Just like I walked away from Sabine.
Just like I walked away from Sabine. I'm sorry, but in my eyes, that's a retcon. She never walked away from Sabine. I think it's a bit further this way. Hold on, there's another line in here.
You and I both know who could help you with this.
She's still just as stubborn as ever.
She's still just as stubborn as ever. When did Ahsoka ever get to know Sabine to the point where she would think that she is stubborn? Honestly. Like, please answer that question if you know what, like, give me the episode, right, in the Rebels series where Ahsoka would know that Sabine is stubborn. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not sitting here saying, yes, 100% we're getting retcons. It wouldn't put it past Dave Filoni to actually do that, though. Because of what we've got so far. I mean, Dave Filoni had no problem retconning the Ahsoka novel in the Tales of the Jedi. So why would he have no problem retconning his own canon? This is Disney canon we're talking about. They've already retconned fucking actual Star Wars, the EU, because they decanonized it. Something that was never canon. You can't decanonize something that was never canon. I don't even know how that fucking works. But again, I also want to point out that the rumor mill out there told me that Jon Favreau was gone. Take it with a grain of salt, Rhino. You're taking it too seriously. No, we had multiple people confirm that this was happening. Jon Favreau's gone. Kathleen Kennedy's gone. I'm hearing a new rumor about Kathleen Kennedy, how she's going to resign. Probably as soon as October. Right? Maybe it's after the Ahsoka series. Because we didn't quite get that rumor correct when we got told that she was leaving after the Indiana Jones movie.
Weird.
Like, it is beyond a joke. Star Wars is a joke. Disney Star Wars isn't Star Wars. And no matter what they put to the screen, lightsabers and everything, right? Even Dave Filoni in that little thing says, you know, how important lightsabers and the Force is to Star Wars. To those people that sit out there and they say, oh, you just want lightsabers. When I was sitting here criticizing the Andor series for the garbage that was, right? People come to me and go, oh, you're just not adult enough. Go back to your childish entertainment. You just need lightsabers and Force users and all of this kind of thing. Well, Dave Filoni agrees that Star Wars revolves around those things. They are an essential element to what Star Wars is, to the lore, the continuity and the canon of it. Oh my God, I'm actually agreeing with Dave Filoni. Fuck! Can't be doing that, can I? Anyway, that's my thoughts on this. I believe that there's retcons to come in this series, especially revolving around Sabine. Dave Filoni has come out and said that Sabine is going to be Ahsoka's apprentice moving forward, right? And to those people that are spurging out in my comment section about me saying that I believe that they're retconning it, well, the evidence so far is in front of me is pointing in that direction. May not happen, and may not happen. But to those people that are saying that, no, there's no retcons, so based on the fact that you say that there's no retcons, if there is retcons, is it ridiculous, stupid, on behalf of Disney and Dave Filoni? Is he still your savior of Star Wars? Let me know in the comments below. And let me know, guys, what you think about all of this moving forward. We are literally, a week away, roughly. A week and a day away from this releasing. We'll soon find out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.